The app that the US government relies on to keep their conversations secret has been leaking messages instead. Also in your hacking news roundup, the CEO of a VPN has a lucky escape, and the Disney hack wasn't quite as it seemed. But first, last week a journalist snapped a sneaky photo of the US National Security Advisor Mike Waltz using his phone. You can just about make out a prompt asking for his TM Signal PIN. This reveals that he, along with other high-ranking people in the US government, are using an unofficial version of Signal made by the Israeli company Telemessage. The whole point of this custom version of Signal is that it'll archive all of your messages. This is really important because US law requires that government communications are archived for the historical record. The regular Signal app that we all use doesn't come with such a feature, but Telemessage solves this problem because when you use their app to send a message, an encrypted copy of that message is also sent to an archiving server. The app isn't publicly distributed, you're not going to find it on the App or Play Store, and the company that makes it isn't very well known, even in the security world. So when that photo revealed that the leaders of the free world rely on some obscure, unheard of Israeli app, almost immediately Telemessage was put under the spotlight of the security community, which started investigating and analysing this app. All totally white hat behaviour, apart from one hacker who went a little further than the rest. They hacked a server operated by Telemessage, exposing the unencrypted private communication of US government officials, and according to the hacker, the whole process took about 15 to 20 minutes, and it wasn't much effort at all. Our grey hats didn't contact Telemessage directly to report the vulnerabilities, because they believed the company might try their best to cover it up, so instead they contacted 404 Media, who investigated further. I'll link their full investigation down below. 404 Media is being quite vague about the technical details, for obvious reasons, but according to them, the hacker compromised a Telemessage server hosted on AWS. This allows them to capture data sent by the app to the server for debugging purposes. The data didn't include the contents of every single message, but it did include some message contents, names, and contact info, essentially unencrypted data passing through the server that was on its way to being archived. Telemessage claims on their website that their app ensures end-to-end encryption from the mobile phone through to the archive, but clearly that doesn't seem to be the case. In fact, in the past few days, this feature page has been totally scrubbed from their website. They've also been privating YouTube videos that show how the app works. And remarkably, the unencrypted debugging telemetry that the hacker was able to access also contained usernames and passwords for Telemessage's backend panel, allowing our hacker to just log in and grab a list of people using the app. You can clearly see they all have government emails. America's adversaries have shown just how much effort they're willing to put into compromising traditional telecoms networks. So if it is the case that some grey hat hacker was able to gain this level of access in just 15 minutes, then it's difficult to understate just how bad this is. And who knows, maybe our anonymous hacker wasn't the first one to the party. Next up, my favourite kind of story, when law enforcement just doesn't understand how technology works. This all centres around the VPN company Windscribe. They seem to be a run-of-the-mill, bog-standard, nothing-to-note VPN company. Sorry Windscribe, maybe I'm missing something. Anyway, some cybercriminal came along and used their Windscribe subscription to hide their IP address whilst they hacked into a website, which they then used to send a bunch of spam emails. Now, when the feds realise that cyber bad guys are using a VPN for crime, the VPN company will usually get a request from law enforcement for the customer's personal details. Windscribe gets about 10 of these requests per month, but like many VPNs, they just don't keep logs, so the feds won't get anything out of their request. But this time, when that website was hacked, the feds, in this case the Greek feds, because the website that was hacked was in Greece, they took a different approach. With the help of Interpol, they subpoenaed the ISP to see who the offending IP address was registered to. It clearly belongs to Windscribe. However, the account was registered in the name of Igor Sak, the CEO of the company. Greek authorities then decided that the best course of action was to charge the CEO himself, as if he was somehow complicit in hacking that website and sending those spam emails. It's obviously silly. I mean, if you're going to charge the CEO of a VPN company for what their customer did, then why not charge the ISP who assigned the IP address? Eventually, Igor finally got his day in court, and whilst you think a case like this would be easily dismissed, instead things got slightly worse. He was told he now had a co-defendant in Morocco, perhaps the guy who actually hacked the website. Either way, the pair were being charged as accomplices, as if they had committed the crime together in some kind of coordinated international criminal enterprise. But the Moroccan authorities were being slow, apparently, so the case was postponed for another year, when finally common sense prevailed, and in the last few weeks the case has been dismissed. But this has been going on for the past 2 years and cost tens of thousands of dollars in legal fees. But I suppose for Igor, it might have actually been a good investment, because whenever a VPN's zero-log policy gets proven true in court, it ends up being a pretty good advertisement for them, so perhaps for Windscribe this was money well spent. For our next story, a hacker responsible for leaking over a terabyte of data from Disney is probably going to jail. At the heart of this is Nullbulge, a group that claims to be made up of Russian furry hacktivists, and I regret to inform you that Nullbulge is named after some kind of furry kink. I'll let you Google that yourself, but more importantly, these guys really don't like AI-generated artwork for the way it harms the creative industry. Disney has been embracing AI, something which Nullbulge hasn't been too happy about, and in an interview the group claims they targeted Disney due to how it handles artist contracts and its general approach to AI. And so in July last year, they leaked 1.1 terabytes of data from Disney's Slack. If you're not familiar, Slack is essentially Discord but for corporations. Hackers love gaining access to a company's Slack because it tends to be a goldmine for all kinds of sensitive data, and this was no exception. Included in the dump was details on unreleased games, movies, financial data, a whole load of stuff. But whilst the leaked data was legit, we now know that the story behind the leak absolutely wasn't. Nullbulge wasn't a Russian group, it was Californian, and it wasn't even a group, but just one guy, 25-year-old Ryan Mitchell Kramer. And the idea that this was some kind of targeted attack against Disney was also a lie. Court documents reveal that our hacker, Ryan, uploaded to GitHub what appeared to be some kind of AI art generation software, but was really malware in disguise. A Disney employee, one Matthew Van Andel, stumbled across the fake AI tool totally by chance. He downloaded it, infecting himself with what was probably an info stealer, giving our hacker access to his password manager. His 1Password account contained his Slack credentials, making all of this possible, but of course every juicy hack nowadays tends to involve extortion, so Ryan contacted the Disney employee via Discord under his persona Nullbulge, threatening to release his personal information if he didn't cooperate. And cooperate he didn't, so along with leaking all that Slack data, also leaked was the entirety of his 1Password account. In an interview with the Wall Street Journal, the Disney employee Matthew describes how this really kind of screwed up his life. I mean, when the credentials to your entire digital existence are exposed on breach forums of all places, nothing is safe. Even his kids' Roblox accounts were hijacked. He was also fired from his job because after Disney forensically analysed his work laptop, they claimed to have found evidence that he was using it to watch spicy videos. Nothing illegal, but it is against company policy. It seems the only winner in this story was the internet rumour mill, because as for our hacker Ryan, in the last few days he's pled guilty and is now facing a maximum of 10 years in prison. As always, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.